There's an underlying thread which connects everything on Earth through patterns, geometric codes, and mathematical ratios, all pointing to a connection to a central processing mind. These codes are at the foundation of third-dimensional reality, whether we're looking at rivers, trees, flowers, anatomy, shells, or DNA. The pinnacle of sacred geometric forms is the mystical cube known as Metatron's cube. This complex symbol contains the interrelated angles and shapes which the physical world is blueprinted after, and acts as the algorithmic processor for the third dimension, which is really nothing more than a false matrix existing in a temporary quarantine within a true, unwavering universe free from the restriction of time and decay. The template and guiding force behind this dream world, this veil which has led us and all of nature into the cycle of Samsara, is Metatron's cube. Life in this current reality is carbon-based. Carbon, being made up of 6 protons, 6 electrons, and 6 neutrons, is the carbon structure of the cube, the supposed number of the beast. This is why the 6-pointed star is such a common symbol. It's the seal which has taken our infinite heart energy and funneled it into this 3D shadow world. Locked within such an elaborate maze of geometric hexes and grids, humanity has been seeing with half vision, segregated from the true Earth, which, like us, is currently blanketed with limitation via the Metatronic overlay system. The goal of this system has been to funnel creative essence into a game of polarity, of light and dark, of opposites. We have been used as a food source to energetically power this hierarchical Metatronic system. This has been visualized as the all-seeing eye and the pyramid. We have Metatron's cube at the top, a binary processing machine which imposes decay. We can personify this force as an imposter god whom the Dark Cabal have been placing in high esteem, since they use the Metatronic overlay to carry out their energy extraction. It's this black cube Yahweh supercomputer which is responsible for our fractalization. Metatron's cube ultimately represents containment, cubes within cubes within cubes, the geometric squaring of our consciousness, the ultimate magical container. Everything is compressed within a toroidal structure in this false matrix. This universal electromagnetic field is a compression field. It compresses the heart into Metatron's container, attempting to seal it off from the infinite. Heart energy is what ultimately powers this labyrinth. It is the innate spark of the 0 point, which has been locked into the third-dimensional false matrix overlay. The flower of life describes the interrelated energy of the infinite, which is bound in a field of self-consumption. Hence, why this current reality is full of disease, decay, stagnation, conflict, and overall dualism. The flower of life is contained, meaning transcendent essence bound into limitation. The flower of life and Metatron's cube actually describe the same thing. They are the same three-dimensional form being expressed two-dimensionally as different. Curved lines are feminine and rigid lines are masculine. So what we have is an ever-expansive, feminine, regenerating energy funneled into a rigid, masculinizing Metatronic system. The creative essence of us and of Earth has been contained through mixing the flow of spirit into a fixed template where it is bound by matter. We can relate this situation to the Gnostic story of Sophia, the great mother who became bound to matter via the creation of the demiurge. This is why every experience in this cube has significance. This is why we experience synchronicity. This is why there's seemingly a tug of war between spirit and matter, because we have funneled the unwavering into the set. Metatron's cube contains all of the geometric shapes in three-dimensional creation, known as Platonic solids. These are the building blocks to all physical matter. The Platonic solids are the container blueprints which Metatron uses to impose hyperphysicality. It is a group of 5 three-dimensional solid shapes, each containing all congruent angles and sides. It is these geometrical figures which manifest as elements in 3D: fire, earth, air, water, and aether. The Transformers movies by Michael Bay contain a great deal of soft disclosure regarding the Metatronic overlay. According to the story, the Allspark is an ancient artifact, a cube capable of creating new Transformer life by bestowing machinery with sparks. It is the source of all life for Transformers. We are the Transformers, transformed from an unrestrained experience into one destined by the linear mechanics of the hypercube of Metatron's cube. In the movies, Megatron is really a personification for Metatron. Megatron is the warlord and leader of the Decepticons, a faction of sentient, self-configuring extraterrestrial robotic lifeforms. This is revealing to us. It is the Metatronic carbon hypercube toroidal chakra kundalini geometric prism overlay that is the reason for this finite existence, for the cycle of birth and death, for time, for decay. In prior videos, we have talked about organic portals. This is what Transformers calls the Decepticons. They are carbon copies of the original living souls who were entrapped here. Basically, there is a finite number of beings here with essence outside of Metatron's cube who have been ensnared in a system full of people who appear on the surface to be real but are nothing more than Decepticons who pay automatic allegiance to the system in order to cloud the living soul's perceptions of themselves and to keep them restrained to hyperphysicality. We are in the multidimensional hypercube, the Tesseract. A hypercube inhabits several sets of dimensions, an infinite series of cubes repeating within themselves infinitely and extending in all directions. All of these cubes within the hypercube define one single moment in time-space, where time has become a spatial coordinate in all directions. At the center of the hypercube is the merging and converging of the toroidal field. This is the field of magnetics, which is a net. Consciousness is the light that shines through the black hole at the center. This is what creates the magnetic field. This black hole is the generator of the toroidal vortex, the seed encased in the hex. Within this black hole, all the information is stored that is projected holographically into the hypercube, creating existence. Each cube within a cube demonstrates one linear possibility, so we can only experience one out of an infinite trajectory of timelines, one at a time. Because of this, everything seems to have a linear cause and effect, a stable beginning and end. Everything has to move in one way. This is Father Time, the Yahweh supercomputer of consciousness. The vesica piscis is the womb of the black hole, the portal through which all energy is toroidally birthed into Metatron's cube. Microcosmically, this is the vagina, the portal through which recycled consciousness within the cube is given another 3D cycle. Within the cycle of Samsara, the infinite becomes interlaced in polarity, of two resonances vibrating enough to create opposites. The vesica piscis represents a closed bi-wave system. Like the flower of life, this dictates a finite energy supply, consuming energies, therefore creating parasitic consciousness. Split in separation, the observer and observed manifest always as distinct. This is why we can never blend in with our environment, only interact with it as separate. This is not the true reality, unbound by inorganic architecture. This is forced split patterns that are designed to fragment consciousness. The energy extraction matrix is designed to uphold the Metatronic overlay, because when we don't realize who we are, when we get caught up in all of this bullshit which surrounds us, when we become attached to the hyperphysical nature of linear time, then we end up forgetting. We end up forgetting who we are. This is why we've been in the cycle of samsara. So it seems paradoxical, but we have been held captive by many, many entities in this cubed consciousness overlay. But at the same time, we have been holding ourselves hostage. In a way, we consented to being here. And the Dark Age, which many mythologies speak about, the Iron Age, it appears is about to dissolve, meaning we're transitioning from one age to another. Is this going to be a golden age? Perhaps. Is the golden age going to be revealing to us what true reality looks like without the overlays? Perhaps. We are not permanently trapped here because that goes against what and who we are. The false Metatronic overlay system is only here when we do not recognize that anything exists beyond these forms of creation. So what many of us have been calling ascension, or the grand exit portal of the 0 point, is nothing more than the illusion dissolving, than the Metatronic system fading away, allowing us to experience the true Earth, the true reality, without all of these overlays, without organic portals, without separation.